Canon says the camera market has bottomed out and is ready to bounce. Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much once again joining me for tea time. Today we have a little bit of fireside. That smokiness, guys, of the lap sung. I hope you're joining me with your cup of tea, maybe a cup of coffee, hanging out, talking tech, talking photo, talking video. Today is a photo day. We're going to be talking about Canon. Their most recent Q2 2022 financial results, let's say. Their report is out. And there was a couple of questions in this Q&A, about I think 5 or 6 questions that I want to talk to you guys about. And it really, I think, gives a direction of where Canon is going, but then also where the market is going, according to Canon. And I think it is very fascinating because we've been talking about this for a while, and in my last video, I talked about how Sony dethroned Canon and how Kodak could be poised to beat them both, especially when it comes to the compact market. A lot of you guys in the comments said, who cares about the compact market? That's not important. We're here for ILCs or DSLRs or whatever, mirrorless cameras. And while that is the case, a lot of the manufacturers have made the majority of their money on the backs of customers that purchase cheap cameras, let's call it, cheap in quotes. $160 cameras, $200 cameras, $400 cameras, not from the customers like myself that are buying $5,000, $6,000 Canon EOS 1Ds, for example. The majority of their money is being made on the smaller end or the lower end product. But before we get into it, I want to say that if you haven't downloaded any of my ebooks as of yet, go check them out. Go over to JCristina.com/books. Once again, JCristina.com/books. You'll be able to find like 10 tips to making tack sharp images. That book is 100% free. Also, the prologue to this book right here, How to Create a Digital Fort Knox, Backing Up Your Digital Life. Also, once again, free. Go check them out. JCristina.com/books. Pick them up. So let's get right into these questions. They come from Canon's Q2 2022 analyst meeting, their Q&A that they had. And we're going to just take a look at about 5 of them. Some of them pertain to what we're talking about. Some of them don't. But I want to read them anyways to you because I think it is all valuable. All right. But sometimes you have to look instead of just at a pinpoint laser or a single tree in the forest, you kind of have to step back sometime and look at the entire forest, all right? Just look at the whole scape to get an idea of direction, okay? So question number 1 says, what is your outlook for the external environment in 2023 and the sustainability of your growth going forward? That is a great question. They answer with, even if production around the world recovers smoothly, it will probably take around a year for the inflation caused by the shortage of goods, which arose from supply chain disruption, etc., to subside naturally. We expect to continue growing as we have transformed our business portfolio and will actively invest to further enhance our products. What this translates into is it's going to be a while. All right, this is not going to happen overnight. It's going to take a good year or so for it to naturally subside. That's number 1. But number 2, what they are saying is they are reconfiguring their portfolio so that they can make money during these hard times. And that's what they've been doing. They've been focusing a lot on their medical side. And the next question kind of tells that story. Now, question number 2 says, what is the driving growth in CT service revenue and how do you expect this business to perform going forward? Now, if you don't know what CT stands for, that is computerized tomography. And that is what we see, like if you go to the doctor and they scan your head to see if you got Mickey Mouse in there or whatnot. This is what a CT scan, or this is some of the equipment that they design. So their answer is, we are able to grow service revenue by increasing our install base through strong sales of CT systems in Japan last year. Once again, CT systems are what? Computerized tomography. Currently, our diagnostic image business includes CT, as well as MRI, ultrasound, and other modalities. Within this, however, we are steadily taking steps towards achieving the world's #1 market share position in CT, which will contribute to expanding our business performance in the future. So, like they said in the very first question, we are restructuring our business so that the things that we do that make a good chunk of money, we are focusing more on. The rest we're still focusing on, but just not as heavily. CT is very big for Canon. Imaging, anything having to do with MRIs and CT scans, they are trying to become #1 in CT. And how are they doing that? Boots on the ground, sales. They're expanding their sales force. That's the translation. Now, question number 3 is also interesting. It says, amid concern that semiconductor capital spending will slow down, what is your outlook for semiconductor lithography equipment demand in 2023? Now, when it comes to lithography, we know that Canon makes the majority of their own chips. They do their own. Unlike a lot of other camera manufacturers that have their image sensors made by other companies like Tower Jazz or Sony or whatnot, Canon makes all of them. But they also make the equipment that other companies use to make semiconductors, right? So this lithography equipment is very important to Canon's bottom line. And the question is, how is this going to be affected in 2023? Are these companies still wanting your equipment to make more semiconductors or not? So Canon's response to this is, considering the current situation of the semiconductor shortage and the technological innovation that is occurring now, we expect demand to remain strong. For this reason, we will continue to invest in production expansion with a plan to increase our production capacity by at least 50% in the future. So they're seeing semiconductors coming back and they're going to expand this production by 50%. That is a big statement right there, guys. That means that we are starting to get out of the woods a little bit. If not, they wouldn't be expanding in 2023 by 50%. That is a lot. That is a big investment to do so. Question number 4 is not really pertinent to us, but it does give direction. It says, when will you commercialize nano-imprinting? Now, if you don't know what nano-imprinting is, basically, nano-imprinting is another form of lithography, and it's a means of writing data or projecting data or burning data into, let's say, the chips, all right, into a layer. So if you think of it as maybe a tagger going to a wall and putting a die or a template up on the wall and taking a can of spray paint and spray painting it and pulling it off, and now you have a word or whatever, it's the same type of thing, but using light to burn it in. So it is important, all right, to this entire lithography or creating of chips or CMOS sensors or whatnot. So their answer is, we already have a product ready and are now making adjustments to address customer requests. Demand for this product is expected to be high as a large reduction in cost can be expected compared with conventional lithography equipment. And we expect to reach a certain level of sales volume in 2025. What that certain level is, I don't know, but what they're saying is the nano-imprinting is the future in comparison to just a standard lithography. So Canon already has products in the pipeline that they're just making adjustments on before putting it out to the public, let's say, or to the commercial side of things. Now, question number 5 is very important to all of us. The question states, what is your outlook on the camera market going forward? Additionally, will you continue to offer both mirrorless and DSLR cameras? What a big question, major question. So Canon answers the question like this. The camera market has largely bottomed out at its current size. Going forward, we expect the professional and advanced amateur segment to expand further, and those products will become more highly developed. Accordingly, we expect the overall market to grow from now on. As for DSLR cameras, we will continue to supply product as long as there is demand. That's like government speak, right? Where it's just like a half-assed answer. It kind of gives direction, though. What they're saying is the market is bottomed out. At this point, we are seeing a bottom and we're going to grow from there. But what they are also stating is that they're going to be growing on the backs of the advanced amateur market, or as I call them, the pro-ams, and the professionals. Why is that? Because that's where they're seeing the majority of the money. But the reason they're seeing the majority of the money is because they're not making a lot of these consumer grade cameras anymore, right? Because they have kind of just given up and said, you know what, Apple, Samsung, you guys won. All right, you guys win, that's it. We're not gonna do it. We're not gonna do these little point and shoots anymore, even though they made the majority of their money on these things. That's what I don't understand. Now, as far as will DSLRs die or not, according to them, they're saying no. We're going to continue to supply products as long as there is demand. So does that mean that they're going to supply the DSLRs that they have sitting in a factory somewhere as long as people want them? Or does that mean that they're going to continue development of them? I feel like they're not going to develop DSLRs anymore, and they're going to sell what they have in stock, and then they're just going to move into this advanced amateur and professional mirrorless segment. The problem, as I see it, is where does all of that R&D revenue come from to design these professional grade cameras, let's call them, where you're asking customers to pay $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, $7,000 maybe for a camera? Where does that money, where does that R&D money come from? Because you're not going to sell as many of them. You know, a lot of people don't know this, but Canon was the #1 mirrorless manufacturer for countless years, even though a lot of you guys will think it was Sony, but it wasn't. And the reason being is they sold a KISS camera, as they call it overseas, or the M series here in the United States. And the M series just made them a gazillion dollars, okay? That camera line just made so much money. Even though it was $400, $500, $600, it's cheap in comparison to what we see now, right? Now, those cameras they just keep selling. Why? Because the consumer can buy them and feel like they've got an upgrade to their Samsung or to their iPhone. And they do. And they can change the lenses out and whatnot. The problem is you stop making these point and shoots and you stop making these lower end cameras like the M series. Well, where do people go? I speculate they go nowhere and they just stick with their iPhone or their Samsung, their Google or whatever, and that's it. They just don't go. You know, someone that has a camera that is good enough in their mind, in their pocket, that they can also make phone calls with and get onto Facebook and text and all the rest of the stuff, it would be hard pressed for them to go and spend $2,000+ on a proper camera. So I just don't know how this is all going to work out. And I've had this conversation with you guys in the past, and what we see here in this Q&A from this quarterly review, let's call it Q2 2022 financial results, this meeting, we see direction, but I mean, Canon is obviously smarter than I am. I want to know your thoughts on this. What do you think is going to happen with these point and shoots? Do you think that the point and shoots are going to die? And they only produce these pro-am or advanced amateur cameras and professional cameras, and that's it. That would be, I think, devastating for photography in general. That's my opinion. Because there's a lot of people that come up into photography by getting a small point and shoot and then just using the hell out of it and saying, you know what, I want a little bit more. I want something that can do a little bit more. And then they slowly migrate into the exact same camera manufacturers' higher end stuff, their pro-am or their professional cameras. So I do think that these camera manufacturers need to have some type of loss leader. And if you take the loss leader out, then where do they go? Where do people go, right? I mean, we see Pentax that are going to be doing just DSLRs. They're not going mirrorless. So if you want to buy a DSLR in the next year or two, you're going to buy a Pentax. That's it, right? So I don't know. I really don't know. Who's going to be doing point and shoots? You know, are we going to see Fujifilm stick with point and shoots? Are we going to see Ricoh just doing point and shoots? You know, who's going to take on that market? And is that market big enough for one company just to make just a crap ton of money doing just that? You know, sometimes you don't need to be number one in the entire market. Sometimes you need to be number one in a niche, right? And once you get that niche and everyone buys that crap from you, that's enough. You don't need to do everything. It's not necessary. So anyways, I want to know your thoughts on this. I hope you enjoyed this commentary and these thoughts back and forth. Down below in the comment area, I want to know what you think. And if you enjoyed this, even in the least, please throw this video a thumbs up. That would be helpful. Also, if you haven't subscribed to the channel as of yet, please do so. Then click this little bell icon over here so when I go live, when a new video comes out, you'll be notified of it immediately. And finally, head over to my website, JCristina.com, where you can find all the photography tools that I've invented for you and me over the years, and hopefully there's something there that you might like. And if there is, please pick it up and support me and my family. That's it, guys. I'm out of here for yet another vlog. Many blessings to you and your family. Stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll see you in the next one. Love you all.